Let's fix some 1860s riding accessories. Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin, and on this channel I teach old-fashioned sewing skills and make reproduction clothing. And I think it was last month, maybe it was the month before, we fixed up my very old 1860s riding habit. And I never did get to the accessories because that video was long in and of itself. So I figured we'd work on accessories today. I have a riding crop that is modern and needs to be fixed up. And I need to make a riding crop holder for this stupid thing. Yeah, okay, so there's like a little rubber handle that I can cut off. So a better riding crop that we're going to make a holder for. So when you're riding side saddle, traditionally you'd have a crop on one side to help horses, especially that are not used to being ridden by ladies, aside, kind of acting as an extra foot to give the horse cues and commands. So this is literally just an extra foot. It's not for, whacking the horse. It's not abuse. It's just to use as the other foot, especially for horses who are not used to being ridden by people who have 2 feet on one side and no feet on the other. Here's your toy. Yeah, you want to get that? Okay. But yeah, Cat likes this. So he sees me playing with his favorite toy right now. And then also on the menu for today, or schedule of events I suppose, I need to make a belt. I have a good gilt belt buckle that will work. I need to make the belt. On that belt goes a little pouch. I took out the red braid on the habit, so we need to take the red off. I need to put in a black button. I have gloves that I made. Like, I made these from actual kid leather, and they are lined in silk. It's pretty awesome. I need to take the braiding off, and we're going to put a little trim just around the edge, make them a little bit simpler. And then I had to remake an entire hat. This is not appropriate. I've seen one hat that looks this short, most of them are higher, and then make one that actually works. And it doesn't need to have the red on there. We're going to do some sort of other color. We're going to make a necktie for this thing, and also probably match the tie here. I think we'll put some feathers on it and make a new veil. So that'll be a fun project. And I think that's it. I do need to find myself a hairnet, which I have. I just have to find it. But I think we can begin by taking off the trim on all of these, putting the new trim on, and then making the crochet crop holder. And we'll get to the hat last. Let's start taking some things apart. Starting with this button. There we go. Hopefully there isn't too much of a mark where all this braiding is, because I'm not replacing it. Yeah, it's one thing to have red on black for the braiding, but I braided the dress in black, and black on black is not going to give the same effect. So I decided I'm not going to do the braiding. Alright, you can kind of see where it used to be. So button the same size as a mother of pearl button that I covered in black velvet. Alright, I think that should be good. I never did line this. I guess that's okay. Make sure it works. It should, because it's the same size button, but sometimes. Yep, okay, we're good. I think the only trimming is I'm going to go just around here with the trim. I think like right here, starting it right at the straps. I guess those are straps. I don't think it's trim, but on the original illustration that shows this little pouch, I think it's bound. So I think the edge is bound, which means it's probably lined and the binding kind of folded over, which I could eventually do. And it's very plain, but I think it functions well. And it does match now because it does have the right trim without being overly fussy. And I think that'll just go out eventually. You can definitely tell there used to be something there. If you look at it long enough, I think when the whole outfit's worn, you're really not gonna be able to notice. So now we're gonna do basically the same thing on the gloves. So we're gonna take out all of the red, and we'll put just that trim just along this edge. I thought about doing it on this edge too, but I'm looking at the original illustration that I've been copying for this ensemble, and there's only trim across the top edge, so we're gonna stick with just that. I'm pleased with them. It's the only pair of gloves I've ever made in my life. I'm just impressed that they fit and they look really good. And they're fitted to me because I have very short, I have weirdly shaped thumbs. And so I think they're called toe thumbs. And so I have very short, but very wide thumbs. And so whenever I wear gloves, sometimes I had to go a whole glove size higher just to be able to fit my thumb width-wise. But then all the gloves are super tall, so they go like up to here with me. So this is a much better fitted glove. So they're like custom little gloves, which I do appreciate. The lovely little grub holder. This is going to be an interesting project. So I started it. The directions, let me just read you the first part of the directions. It says, work in double crochet over a piece of elastic, 13 rows. It looks like on her wrist, maybe about an inch wide elastic, so that is what I chose. First of all, I don't know how to crochet over elastic. What I'm going to do is 13 rows and just kind of encase it. I think that's what it means. I even Googled it and I couldn't come up with anything. So I made this basically the same width of my wrist. So I just put it over my wrist and this is what I got. So for me, I think this ends up being 7.5 inches. And for me, I'm working on, the directions do specifically say, worked in green silk. I'm not doing green because I don't have first I don't have any green silk thread. I thought about black, but I don't have any black either. So we're using white. So it's the most neutral color that I had. Mostly I have like blue and red and pink and things that weren't going to work. So we're choosing white. It is silk yarn in a lace weight. And I am using a 1.9 millimeter crochet hook for this. For me, for my wrist length and all of that, it's exactly 60 stitches. Now it says to work in double crochet, and if you're not familiar with period crochet terms, you're going to do what we now call a double crochet. That is not what Americans called a double crochet back in the 19th century because terms have changed. Crochet was a pretty new skill, mostly starting to become popular in the 1840s, so this is only 20 years later. What I have personally found, it's something I have noticed, is European sources use what we would do today. So if you're looking at a British or a French publication, they're going to publish terms like single crochet and double crochet as we know them. The Americans had to go make it difficult. And so they decide a single crochet is basically what we would call a slip stitch, and a double crochet is what we would today call a single crochet. And the reason they did that, from what I can tell anyway, is the double and the single and the triple, whatever, is how many times you pull through the yarn per stitch. So a single, what we would call single crochet now, is a double crochet because you pull through twice. So watch how I do a stitch. You pull it through once, you pull it through twice. We would call that a single crochet. The Americans back in the 1860s would call that a double crochet because you pulled it through twice. So a slip stitch would be a single crochet. What we would call a double crochet is a triple crochet or treble stitch. Now I was actually concerned at first because the original illustration of this was a French magazine. And so now I'm thinking, okay, did they translate it word for word, meaning a double crochet is actually what we would call double crochet? Or did they actually translate the terms as well when they translated the pattern from French to English for Godey's? So I pulled up the French page, which I only have a very small snippet of it, and I looked it up. It does appear that they were using the proper French terms and they did translate it over to the American terms. So I actually started this in double crochet thinking, okay, well it's French, so I wonder if it really is like an actual double crochet. And then I took it out and I'm now redoing it in single crochet because that's the best bet. Also, this actually matches better. So if you have an inch wide elastic, 13 rows is about gonna cover this twice. So here and across. And so it's gonna basically encase the elastic, which is what my first thought of this whole, crochet over the elastic meant anyway. And of course, no weight is given, no hook size is given. You kind of just gotta figure it out. All right, I am just nearly done. It took a little bit more than 13 rows. I actually have no idea, I lost count. I just know I'm over 13. Now halfway, I don't know if you can really see it on camera, but halfway, I chose to do a row where I only crocheted in the first part of the stitch. So you know how, okay, if you are a crocheter, you'll know there's like 2 little loops that is a stitch. I only chose to do it in the front loop, not the back, and that kind of created halfway a little bit of a stitch that I can now go into to do the edging, if that makes sense. That was not in the directions, but I thought that made sense to me. All right, now I'm gonna read the directions. All right, the scallops on each side are worked as followed. First round, 2 double, 9 chain, 2 double, asterisk, 9 chain, miss 4, 2 double, repeat from asterisk. I gotta remember that a double crochet in this world is actually a single crochet. Almost at the end. I don't, of course, have the right amount of stitches, so I'm gonna fudge this last little bit. Now let's turn it and figure out what we do next. Second row. Miss always the 2 double stitches at the end of the scallop. Work in the middle stitch of the loop of the chain 3 double stitches, and in every other chain 1 double. It says miss and not slip, so we're gonna miss it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go, of course, all the way across, and I'm gonna repeat this. It says work 4 rounds in the same way, so I guess that's 4 more rounds. So a total of 5 rounds, that's what I'm reading. So next time, because I have 3 stitches in that center one, I'm going to single crochet in 5, then 3 in the next, and then 5 down again. And the next row I'll have 6, and then 7 between the stitches that I'm doing the 3 stitches. We're trying Alara out as an indoor cat again. She has not been an indoor cat for a while because she doesn't play nice with the others. But we're trying to separate them in different areas of the house and just see if we can make her an indoor cat again without her peeing over everything that we own. Alright, so that side is done. I'm going up and slipping up this second short side. But that is what that looks like when it's done. So I have to do the same thing on the other side here. Alright, we are very nearly, well, I guess we still have a couple of steps, but what I'm doing now is sewing on buttons. I still have not finished the other side, which we're about to do. I figured buttons be easier to sew on before I do the loops. Alright, so at this point I'm going to do my little loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, nope, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is a guess to kind of see if they will go over the buttons. I hold that there. Yes. Right, 12. Just stick that there. Slip stitch across. I'm also going to need to tie in all of these ends. Alright, we're gonna work on a hat. So I bought a hat blank, actually from Amazon. It's 100% wool felt and I got it for like 50 bucks. It's not that bad. Except for the fact there's plastic and polyester and fake leather and the shape is wrong. So we're gonna fix it. I'm gonna need to see if I have any black silk ribbon because if not, I may have to go buy some. Looked at a lot of riding habit hats. Now there are different styles of riding habit hats. I think we're gonna go with the original illustration. It looks like this brim is maybe about ½ an inch taller than the illustration, but I have other illustrations of hats that are this tall or even taller. So that's not necessarily a not very correct thing, it's just different from the illustration, which is fine. ½ an inch is not gonna make that much of a difference in the grand scheme of things, considering I didn't even use the right color fabric when making the riding habit. Oh, good, it's gonna come right off. Okay, awesome. Yay! I love it when things dismantle easy. Yes, okay. And I can use this as a pattern for when I do the rest of it. Alright, now I'm going to use an iron and I'm going to try to iron this out. I'm guessing I'm going to have to put wire into the silk binding so I can get the shape, that little curvature. So it was curved in like this. That is not what I need. I need the rim to be flat, like flat, but then I need it to be like, as I pull it apart, I need it to be higher up here and lower here. In a couple places I've put, just to further protect it, little linen, actually one of my napkins that I use for eating, but you know, it works for this too. We're getting there. I think that's just about good. Sometimes when it's being steamed, it likes to curl back up, but if you just put it with your hands, that looks really good. Which all I have is 2-inch silk ribbon, so I'm going to fold it in half, make it an inch, and then fold that in half to encase this edge. I'm just whipping wire on the edge, smaller wire than I would have chosen for this project. I chose my bonnet wire, which I think is around 20-21 gauge. I think I would have picked like an 18 gauge for this just because of how thick and stiff this hat is. Sweatband. It's just leather, which means sewing it can be a little bit tricky. I'm using a curved needle, which I don't know if that was a good idea or not. This is working, but I feel like it may have been easier to do without the curved needle. Yeah, this is just cowhide. I had it in the stash and I cut it to the width that the original faux leather band was. And there are some originals that are straight, so I guess we're gonna call that good. Alright, taking a break from the hat itself and working on the veil. What I'm doing with the veil is I could not find, and I looked, period instructions for making riding hat veils. Now granted, most riding habits were not made at home. You didn't even have a dressmaker make them. You had a tailor make them. So they are more akin to men's clothing than women's clothing. So I'm looking at illustrations going, okay, that's what this could be. There's a lot of different, not colors, but styles of veils within the riding habit. So I chose a very simple one. It is basically from hat, so like head, down to about the small of your waist. I made mine a little bit shorter because I'm really afraid of sitting on it or causing issues like when riding. I thought it'd be safer. So I did 27 inches for me. And I did just a full width. This is silk gauze, by the way. It's, I think it's 3 mommy. I think maybe it's 4.5. It's very light silk gauze. And so the top I just gathered up so I can put this onto the back of the hat in a little bit. I'm not quite there yet. The bottom, a lot of them just don't show anything. In fact, the original illustration, it looks like gauze. There's no hem, there's no nothing, which I know is not right. I did find one illustration of what looks like a ribbon, a silk ribbon at the bottom. I've seen several other veils that are not riding veils with a silk ribbon at the bottom, and I like this because it adds some weight to the veil, because veil, especially silk gauze, you see how light this is. The slightest bit of breeze, this will go over the hat and onto my face, which, yes, I can see through it, but it may just cause annoyance. So this is going to add some weight to it. And that's going to be most of this. A lot of the other accessories are just gathering things. So we're going to do the belt out of the wine-colored ribbon as well to kind of bring in that color somewhere other than the hat and the necktie. So we're going to do that. I have a black belt buckle. We're good. I have a hairnet, which is what you should be wearing when you're riding. It's going to help keep hair contained. You dress the hair first and then you put the hairnet over top. All the other little accessory things I'm just going to gather and then I'll just show them off at the end. So, Alright, I'm going to work on, I think, making a bow. I made one. So one goes on the neck and then one goes on the hat. They don't look the most fantastic, but they do work. And I saw several ones that just looked like bows and I thought that was going to be the easiest thing. That's definitely not what the illustration that I'm trying to copy does. But I saw plenty of bows. So we're going to go with this because it is easy. I'm gonna bias the edges. The short one will go on the hat, I think. The bow goes there. Actually, we're gonna do these first. I'm gonna need 2 feathers that are just about the same length, which these should all be pretty close. This one's a little bit taller, and I had one that was a little bit taller over here. Do these match? Okay, those look pretty good. So you want to put 2 of them together and kind of sew them together so they look more full. So now I have a nice, beautiful, very full feather. Alright, put all that down. Alright, I have this now. So feather in the back. Now veil. Alright, so I have it back on. Also, I did get my boots in, so I have riding boots now. The little pouch onto the belt. Okay, that looks better. Yeah, that's better. So great, no, but it is better. Should have brought a mirror over here. I might be, you know what, we're gonna use the camera. Oh yay, it's gonna stay. Okay, cool. Okay, and then a lot of the manicures I've noticed mention a hairnet. That's just to keep the hair from flying. And so it's just goes over my bun, which I did a very simple hairstyle. And then, let's see, hat, which does look better now. I love veils. Veils are fantastic. I'm so impressed with how well these fit. And then this. So this needs to go. Yes, that works. Can I put the glove back on? Really wish I had both gloves. It's in the sewing room somewhere. So there we are with the accessories. Me stepping on the skirt because I didn't have it held up. So technically I'm supposed to, this is not graceful. I'm supposed to hold it something like this while I'm walking. Didn't take, it was a long process, but the amount of hours really wasn't a lot. And here comes the cat, because this is his favorite toy. Yeah, come here. You want to play? There you go. Yes, you want to play. Why? I don't know. It's been in the closet. Well, not the closet. It's been in a tote for 5-ish years, 6-ish. Whenever I made this habit, the first time I bought this, and it's been in the tote his whole life. And then I got it out to work on it, and we very quickly realized he's like following it with his eyes. Yeah, that heater's gonna be on for a while, so I guess we'll just mostly end it here because I'm gonna have to play with the cat now that this is out. But yeah, that's this outfit will probably not get any use for several years, but it is what it is, and I'm happy that it's done and it fits now. I mean, getting the shirt on was a little bit tight this morning because I had misplaced my 1860s corset, and so I had to wear my 1870s corset. Well, my 1870s corset, of course, is shaped differently than my 1860s corset, which means that my body is a little bit different shaped, and therefore things don't fit the same way, and so that's never fun. I have no idea where I put that 1860s corset. The only reason I found this corset is because I was at an 1870s, I was teaching at Pioneer Farms, and so I was wearing my 1870s clothes. And that is why I happen to know exactly where this was, because I haven't unpacked yet. But just in case you want to see the back, I'm not entirely sure how it looks back there. I think I do need to sew the back bodice to the skirt, at least from like the corner or the sides back. I do think that needs to happen. But I think the accessories are all good. I think we're finally there, so I have a complete outfit. That's what we needed. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe to the channel, click that little bell notification so you're notified anytime I upload a new video. And as always, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here in the next video.